And so therefore what happened is, every time the door is open in this place, what's happening here, it is an appointed time. We talked about that before. Moad, you are in an appointed time. What's the appointed time? When God's heart is released for the people to fulfill his purpose in the land of the living at that time. So we're crossing into season and time. And what happened when the people do not do that, they start going against the will of God. And so if this word is true, and it is, it has to reconform me, and I was changed. So because of that, I'm no longer where I came from. I'm a totally different person, and many people will not invite me anymore because I'm not telling the old story. I'm telling God's story.
Because they want to use the enmity. The end motive is to expose the enmity. But you see, there was exposure Thursday night. When she spoke, when you told your story, there was exposure. There was exposure. But the end was not to just end in darkness. The end was to bring hope, to bring life, to bring light. So we have all experienced darkness in various ways in our life. But the hope is what matters. It's what happened to her. We saw the darkness of what you experienced in your way of being raised in Islam. We saw your side of the darkness, and we saw your side of the darkness. We've all experienced darkness. Hatred. 3 people here full of so much hate. But we got to be careful that we are not using or manipulating the prophetic to forward a hidden agenda. So oftentimes it even happens unintentionally, but sometimes it happens intentionally because we don't know any better, because we're fueled by the propaganda and we don't have the cry in our heart, which is what we got to stand up for. And there's 3 cries. There's the cry of Ishmael, which is the cry of the Muslim heart. But what we need to awaken that is the cry in the church, the cry of intercession and prayer that Ron mentioned. Once that awakens, then that begins to awaken the cry of the Jewish people's hearts. And then they cry out for the Messiah. And that's a cry he is longing to answer. Amen. And so what's happening is Kamal, that people, like you said, they want to hear the negative, but that's not enough. We got to hear, like Khalida said, I'm a product of the love of God. Yeah.